Hello everybody, hello once again and welcome to the Prismata News and Game Dev Insight Show. I am Elliot Grant, your host, and if you think my voice sounds a little bit different today, you are correct. I've been quite sick over the last week. I just got back from the Game Developers Conference, which is a huge conference in San Francisco, which was last week. I had a bunch of meetings there and talked about Prismata. I got to meet a huge number of game devs that I'm a massive fan of. I met Zach Barth, I met Jonathan Blow, I met, a lot of creators of puzzle games that I'm a fan of, stuff like that. I also got to see tons of upcoming shit. If so-and-so is a person you're a fan of, they're probably making a new game right now if they just released something. I met one of the guys who made Into the Breach. It was a real fun time. I also met lots of business people, had a few meetings. There were sort of three things that we were looking at. One is localization partners or people to help us with that, including publishers to take the game into China. And we have a few Chinese publishers who are evaluating the game. One of them is mobile ports, which is quite possibly still something we're just going to do ourselves without anybody external helping. And the other thing is just more platforms that we can go on. I talked to people at Congregate. They're starting up a new platform for Windows games, and they have millions of users. We may end up being one of the first games on there. We will also have a web version of the game on their website as well. And some other things like that. So it was a productive week. I met a lot of people, and then I fucking got sick and spent the latter half of the week laying in bed, shivering, and taking a lot of Sudafed just to survive. A few things fell behind. I had, hundreds of emails by the end of the week that I just, had been answering the important ones, and it took me all weekend to get caught up in that. There was a lot of promo and stuff that I was supposed to be on that I just never got around to. Our website still needs to be updated. I still have to send out tons and tons of keys, but that's all happening very soon. Let me explain some of the next steps for Prismata as we enter early access. So there will be a small update probably in the next 24 to 48 hours, just containing a few bug fixes and minor little tweaks. But sometime probably a week from now-ish, plus or minus a few days, not sure, there will be a major update. The major update will contain a balance patch, which is the first one we've had during early access, first one we've had in Prismata as a whole in quite a long time. And it will be a relatively major balance patch with changes to, quite a few units. We're still not sure on the exact number or exact changes. We're still working through that internally, and then we're going to present the list of changes externally to sort of a small group of players and do some play testing with a few of the key changes just to make sure everything seems okay. And then we'll probably announce the changes and we'll run them live at some point next week. So Lucina buff, definitely not a Lucina buff. It may or may not be a Lucina nerf in there. In addition to the balance patch, we are also going to be adding some new units. Here's one of them. This is the Mobile Animus. I have not mentioned... Oops, where'd it go? Let me get it back. I have not mentioned what it does yet, but I will tell you this much. It costs 4, just 4 gold, nothing else. It produces 1 red every turn as its start of turn ability, and it also has a click ability, which I will post in a few days. But yeah, we're doing this unit. How many units are in this group? I think 4, maybe. Actually, don't quote me on that. We're releasing maybe, let's say, between 3 and 5 units. um, as well as a balance patch. So that's coming probably next week, assuming everything is going okay. That's that. What else is going on with early access? So Chapter 2 is releasing next month. Chapter 2 development, Chapter 2 is more or less done in terms of the content. In terms of the storyline, still some changes here and there. Tiny little bit of art needs to go in, but it's mostly done. So we're very comfortable that we could release it whenever we need to. Our plan is sometime in April. But we care a lot about the polish, and something we discovered with Chapter 1 is, like, people care a lot about the jokes, they care a lot about the characters, they care a lot about the dialogue and it being, like, top-notch, perfect. So we're going to try as hard as we can to make sure Chapter 2 lives up to the same level of quality as Chapter 1. And Chapter 1 we spent a year on. In Chapter 2, the writing, some of it is still kind of a little drafty, so we got to do passes on it, and we're going to run through test players and get feedback and do surveys and all the stuff we did with Chapter 1 at a sort of accelerated pace of production. So that's Chapter 2, coming in April. We're going to be doing a lot of giveaways of keys. We have still a massive mailing list of people that we're going to give a Steam key to every single one of the people on that mailing list. Anybody who ever signed up on our website, we're just going to say, come play the game for free. Here's a Steam key. There's also a lot of sites on the internet where we can give keys away to streamers, stuff like Keymailer or MoveIt and Steam Curator Correct. We can give Curator Connect. We can give free keys away to Steam curators. Some of that stuff we've already done, but we're going to be doing a whole lot more of it. And particularly throughout the next couple of weeks, we want there to be new players coming in every day pretty much. So we're going to start a process of giving away probably many hundred keys every day over the next few weeks. Something we even thought about, and we've never done this before. I'm very interested on you guys' opinions on this. So in Prismata, everybody registers with an email address, in your account, and so you can change it, or when you sign up you can add it. You can just put in nothing if you want, but we never use those email addresses for anything other than password recovery, or sometimes if people have a bug, the developers will email them on that email address to try and figure out what happened or see if we can get any further information. We're thinking of emailing people on that email and just sending them a Steam key and being like, hey, here's a Prismata Steam key. You have a Prismata account. If you want to play it on Steam, here you go. I really hate spamming people. I don't want to spam people. But a lot of these people, we actually have no other way of contacting them because they got a free Prismata key sometime a long time ago, and we did a lot of giveaways or whatever, and they may not even know that the game's out or that they still have an account. And it's a transactional email. It's not a marketing email. We're not trying to sell them anything. We're literally just saying, here's a free Steam key if you want to come try out the game. So we're not, it's an email related to Prismata, so we're not spamming them. We're not going to sell it to advertisers or anything like that. Would people just resell them? Absolutely. We've seen Prismata keys pop up on Steam resellers. But here's the thing. If anybody out there just wants a key, I'm happy to give away keys for free. We've given away so many keys. And we're happy to do so. The only reason the game isn't completely free to play on Steam right now is because we want to restrict access to dedicated players who are serious about the game and know that this is the type of game they're interested in playing. We want to cultivate a community of die-hard fans. We don't want, because free-to-play games on the internet, a lot of them have really bad communities because it's just, a lot of kids who don't really know what they're doing, or they expect one thing and they find another, or a lot of trolls. Just the overall quality of community interactions is a bit higher if there's a little bit of a barrier to entry, which for us, we want to keep it either a financial barrier to entry, or you have to talk to another human and ask them for a key. we don't want to keep people out with no money, and we're not trying to like earn a lot of revenue by charging $25. That's not the goal at all. um, I don't mind kids. I don't like people who are rude in the chats, and people who don't know how to play a serious strategy game and aren't really mature enough to handle the culture of a more serious strategy game. But I spoke with a guy at GDC who he's the VP of development and the GM on a major MMO project. And they did the same thing that we did, where they had like a paid only early access for an MMO that would eventually become free to play. And he told me everything that they did when giving out keys. And he basically said that they did the same shit that we did. Pretty much anybody who just asked them for a key, that they would just give it to them. And they also sold keys, and they had many ways that they gave keys out, but they didn't open the floodgates right at the start, because they want to make sure that that quality of community is there during the early phases when they're just building up and testing things and iterating on their design and making sure their new user experience is good, and yada yada yada. And we're still there, right? We're still doing the same thing. But believe me, I've talked to like experts in the industry to try and find the right way to do things, and the balance between being stingy with keys or being too free with keys. And one of the consequences is, yes, keys will end up on the open market, but that's fine. Honestly, like if somebody really wants to play Prismata and they like don't want to ask us for a key, and they go to Steam and they don't want to pay $25 and they pay $17 or whatever it is on rando site, like I don't care. The thing that I don't like is when they come to me afterwards and they're like, hey, I don't have the DLC in my account, and it turns out that they just like bought a key from a reseller. That kind of breaks my heart, because like they kind of got swindled. Like they paid $17 for just a thing that we give away for free, right? So that makes me feel bad. And I really don't want people selling keys. I'd rather them just give them away. But whatever, it happens. What was next on my list to talk about? So yeah, we're going to be giving away tons of keys. The population on the server, this happened during Kickstarter. Whenever there was a day that we gave away keys, the server population would have a big bump, and then another big bump, and a big bump whenever we did it again and again and again. The problem during Kickstarter is that those bumps fell off super quickly, because many people just played for a half hour or an hour, and the new user experience was fucking awful, and they just quit. Now that we have single player campaign, it's a huge difference. It's night and day. People actually stick around. So we're hoping that with this round of many thousands of keys being given away, with the promise of, by the way, there's free single player content that you should play, and it's actually good. We're hoping that we're going to actually retain more users past the sort of day one, where we had problems during Kickstarter. Anyways, so that's sort of it for the update. That's what the plan is for the next couple of weeks. It will be many key giveaways, a unit and balance update, and then sometime in April, Chapter 2. After that, we're going to try a free weekend on Steam. That's the real terrifying one. We're going to do a Steam free weekend and see if our servers hold up. We may call it the, kill the servers weekend or something like that, but that will be, that'll be scary. Anyways, that's all for today. I'm happy to take some random Q&A in the Twitch chat. Let me just switch it over back to the Twitch chat. Random Q&A for a few minutes. Go.